Cubs with a positive weekend up at PNC Park. We talk about Kyler Gordon's injury and preview the Bears wide receiver room.
Yeah, Northside noise, Shot City day, Joey Sam, lock it in, we blow all the spin, come talk it, tap in, and with a heartbeat couple quick.
Welcome to the Shy City Den. I am Joey Glickman alongside Sam Van Cleaver breaking down the biggest stories, biggest games, and all things Chicago sports. If it's happening in Chicago, we're talking about it. We have a packed show ahead of us. We're talking Cubs taking 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh after I think a massive series win, going up with all things considered with the starting pitching. And then we preview Kyler Gordon has entered the physically unable to perform list, which is very concerning, 7 weeks out. And then we preview the pretty deep wide receiver room for the Chicago Bears. But let's start in Pittsburgh. Cubs take 2 out of 3 against the Pirates, with 3 of their top pitchers going for them. And the Cubs went toe-to-toe against a potential playoff team in the Pirates. Starting with Friday, Matthew Boyd was excellent, 7 strong innings. He's been really good since returning from his injury. Really has been, honestly, one of the best pitchers in the NL since his return. Shota Imanaga was fantastic as well. He looked great. His splitter looked phenomenal. He's really relying on that splitter more and more as the season goes on. And then Jameson Taillon, we'll talk about him later on. But let's start with PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, with another MVP weekend. He really shines. Hits a double off of Skeens, hits a homer off of Matson. He had a really, really nice weekend. But the Cubs take 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh. Nice series win.
Yep, we're going to take that all day, Joe. Headed into the series, past episode, we were talking about, this is going to be a tough series to take 2 of 3 because we're facing some of their best starting pitching. And our at-bats this weekend were phenomenal, I thought. And even today, slow start at the plate, but we battled back even in the 9th, got it to within 1. And I think that's just more of a testament to JMO having a crappy start on the bump today. And hopefully we can fix those issues come the trade deadline and approaching very soon. I think we're getting 10 days out or something like that.
Week from Monday.
Yeah, week from Monday. So we're approaching the deadline, so we should be getting some reinforcements sent our way. But incredible series this weekend. And we got to talk about Pete, man. 23 homers, 26 stolen bases, 20 outs above average right now. He's on pace for another 30 season, ladies and gentlemen. And Joe, let me tell you this.
What's the other 30?
He would be the first player in MLB history to have a 30 season with outs above average. Nobody in MLB history has done it. Pete is on pace right now to be the first player in MLB history to have a 30 season with outs above average.
That's insane.
Insane. Isn't that?
It's insane.
And he's at 23 homers, 26 stolen bags, and 20 outs above average right now. So this kid is 24 years old, and he's still getting better. He's still getting better every single day.
His last 30 games, he's hitting .327, slugging .645 with an on-base percentage of .475. He's walked 28 times. So listen, this is the crazy stat. Knowing Pete, in 30 games he's walked 28 times, man. That is insane. How
long did it take him to walk 28 times last year? Because it was not 30 games. Let me tell you, it might have been half the year, maybe more.
For sure. And slugging. He's still striking out, at a
But I
preseason.
mean,
But it doesn't matter when you're
yeah, it doesn't.
when you're hitting 327 and an OPS of 1.1 something. In the
And
last
it feels
1.1, like that's do the math. I don't even know. It's the stretch that he's on. I don't think we've seen a stretch like this from a Cubs player in our lifetime. Like you can go back to
and we were saying this last
98.
year about him, and he's doing it this year again and on another level. Like I don't. It feels like pitchers are still testing him because last year in the playoffs, the Padres found his kryptonite. You know, the high cheddar with the low breaking ball. Mason Miller repeatedly went back to that, and he was getting K'd in 3-4 pitches. But it feels like every Pete bat I sit down to watch now, he's working a full count. He's laying off the high heaters. He's laying off the low breaking balls. He's not chasing stuff, and that's been, I feel like, his biggest improvement and why he's crushing so many pitches in the zone right now is because he's finally starting to understand the type of hitter he is. So he's starting to look for pitches in certain parts of the zone, and if it's not there, he's going to lay off.
And that's really, like you said, that's really been the key for him this year is the walk, is the on base percentage. Like, I don't. There's a small list of guys in the show right now that you feel the confidence that all of us Cubs fans feel when Pete is at the plate. Like it's a small list. It's probably Ohtani, Freddie, Soto. That's
Jordan.
it. That's it. Jordan. That's it. That's it. That's like 4 or 5 guys that you're talking about in a big spot. And Pete is one of those guys. One of those guys is on your club. I'm looking at the odds right now. PCA 2 weeks ago, I was talking with one of my friends. Shout out Brody. 2 weeks ago, PCA was plus 2,200 to win MVP. He is now plus 190 to win the award. And I'm going to be
It's almost like
what I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to be favored by the end of this week.
That's a crazy jump, but to me, that almost tells like people are just now starting to like realize the type of year he's having. But it's not like he's on a crazy. Well, I mean, he is on a crazy stretch, but I feel like this stretch has lasted since like April. This dude has dug us out of. We were staring down the barrel of, we're approaching 500. We might go below 500. Half of our rotations out, half of our bullpens out. We were staring down the barrel of this being a very off the railroad type of season, and I feel like Pete was the engine behind getting this thing back on track for us.
For sure. And yeah, it's been fun to watch. It's been a real joy to watch. And I think he's gonna continue this for the foreseeable future. And like as far as the MVP race goes, the longer Shohei doesn't pitch, the better chance Pete has at winning the award. He now leads the MLB in WAR by more than a full win. I mean, he was at 7 this morning. He might have gone up after today. And it's such a joy. I'm honored to watch this man play. And it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. Who knows? Like, he didn't perform in the postseason last year. He would be the first one to tell you that. And when he gets to the postseason this October, it's going to be electric. It's going to be electric for him at 100% to watch him play in the postseason.
100%. Because I
yeah.
feel like, before we move on real quick,
Yeah.
I feel like Pete's like a riser when you get to those big game scenarios. Like,
For sure.
for example, go back earlier to the start of the year, like the WBC. Pete was, that Italy game, we were down, 7-1, and Pete homers twice to bring Team US back into it late. Like, I feel like the bigger the stakes, like this kid shines when the lights are brightest, and that's really valuable when
Big
you're
hit in
heading,
game 3,
obviously,
too,
to
I guess.
October.
Big hit in
Yeah,
game 3.
against Padres, the bases loaded, base hit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to come up clutch in the postseason when his moment comes. Let's talk a little bit about Jameson Taillon. Jameson Taillon got absolutely demolished today. If it wasn't for his injury going down, he would be on a historic pace for home runs given up. He's given up 25 home runs in 75 innings. At this point, it's very impressive that he's done that. Some batting practice pitchers haven't done that in a full year. And here we are, Jameson Taillon has given up a home run. Seems like every inning nowadays, especially against left-handers. Sam, I'm going to ask you this question, and it's honestly a yes or no question. You can obviously go into depth on it. But is this Jameson Taillon's last start in a Cub uniform?
Yes. Yes. I think it might be. I really do. Like, I love the guy. I love him in the clubhouse. J-Mo is an A-plus person, A-plus human being. I think it's time. Like, to your point, if he was healthy to start this year and this whole year, this dude would literally be breaking the record for most home runs allowed in a season with like half the amount of innings thrown. I just, every fourth, fifth day this dude comes around, it feels like, the Cubs as an offense need to put together a big day to be able to stay in the game. I don't know, man. Like he developed the kick change. What was it, last year or the year before that? And like it was effective all of last year and even in the playoffs. Speaking of last year's playoffs, J-Mo gave us an unbelievable playoff gem last year against the Padres.
Two against Milwaukee, two in Game 3. Yes.
So we will never forget what J-Mo has done for this team. He's been a glue guy. He's going to take the rock and work his ass off on the mound. But I think it's just we're getting to that time where teams just know you like a book, and it really feels like every time we throw them out there, it's an uphill battle.
And Craig Counsell got asked this question post-game on whether or not they're going to reevaluate this rotation next time Taillon's turn comes around, and he said, we've got a lot to discuss. We've got days to figure that out, but we have to discuss what's best for the staff in general, which, and Craig is a very front-forward type of person. Like, if he said Jameson Taillon's our guy, he would have said that in the press conference, and he did not say that. And going off what you said, like, Jamo's a great dude. Like, I root for the guy more than anyone. But guys like Assad, guys like Savali, those guys who've pitched well for the Cubs, obviously more so Assad because Savali hasn't been here for that long, they deserve an opportunity to start. Javier Assad has been phenomenal this year. He's got dealt a pretty shitty hand, a terrible hand. And I think next time around, I would like to see Javier Assad in there to start for Jameson Taillon. I don't know what they do with Taillon. Do they find a trade partner at the deadline? Do they DFA him? I don't see that being a scenario. Or do they phantom?
No, because he's still getting a good chunk of salary. Like, that was going to be a question I had for you. Like, if we were to move on from J-Mo, like, how do we do that? Like, because we'd have to eat money, obviously, or something.
You can't DFA him, probably. But like they're gonna get starters at the deadline, so like by at least or at most this time in 10 days, he's not gonna be in the rotation. He's not.
Then my question is, do you run like an extended type of rotation to keep guys like Boyd healthier when you're getting ramping up for the playoffs?
No.
Yeah, like
No, the rotation.
Yeah, see, that's a question. Like, what do you do if you add a Reed Detmers at the deadline, say, and you still have Taillon on the roster? Do you bump him to like an Assad Ray role where you bring him in out of the bullpen, something like that in the postseason, or as we get like what do we do with Jameson Taillon if we were to acquire a starter like Reed Detmers or
I think you got
to
try to find a way to trade him, find a partner, maybe if you were to go give the Angels a call for Reed Detmers or a Jose Soriano, will you include James? I know this is a big, you know, shot to Jameson Taillon, like leaving a World Series contender to go to the Angels. But do you consider throwing him in the package just to eat innings for the Angels for the rest of the year? I
And that's a tough
It's a tough
pill to
conversation.
swallow. Yeah, because like you want to do right by your guys. Like Ryan Poles is a great example of that. Like shipping guys off to where they can have an opportunity and excel. Like yeah, it would be tough pill for JMO to swallow going to Anaheim and playing for a ball club. He's not really competing for anything, but something like that may need to happen in order for us to kind of get over the hump of this back end rotation struggles.
And the rotation is going to consist of, in September, it's going to be consist of deadline acquisition, Edward Cabrera, Shota Imanaga, Matthew Boyd, Colin Ray, and then a mix of Steele, Peterson, Assad, and then Ben Brown. Like those are like that's 9 guys that are going to contribute to your. Oh, that is my audio. Talk.
Yeah, so that's like nine guys you just rattled off right there. I'd feel pretty good considering our depth heading into the postseason if those are our 9 guys with the deadline acquisition included. Like I'd feel pretty solid about heading into the postseason with that group being starters for us. But at the same time, like we need to add bullpen depth, I think, because, if we get into a bullpen match, defensive slugfest or deep into a 7-game series, like you're going to need as many arms as possible out of the bullpen, especially like back end bullpen. We're going to need Palencia healthy. We're going to need Hobie healthy. We're going to need, yeah, Hobie obviously should be back soon, but like we're going to need an extensive amount of bullpen arms. And I'm also not sure if we have like Rollison's great, Trent Thornton's great, Jacob Webb's great. Like those are awesome names that can contribute for us, but I feel like we need almost another guy to come in and like overpower hitters.
Right. And Hobie Milner should be back at the first week of August. Palencia looks like I heard some positive updates this morning. His bullpen went well. He should go on a rehab assignment along with Hunter Harvey, who we haven't heard his name all year long. Should be August 3rd. I think they're going to a rehab assignment potentially. So we could expect them back mid to late August, which would be fantastic for this bullpen. Someone that comes to mind, the Padres are probably going to be up for sale, is Adrian Morejon. I really like him. He's my number 1 reliever target. He's nasty from the left side. Throws about 100. Got a really good changeup as well. He would be a great addition to this bullpen. I don't think Mason Miller is a viable option. I don't think it's a realistic option. So going to have to go a different route. And they're going to be active in the reliever market for sure. They're going to get a reliever or two. And they're going to slot right in that 7th or 8th inning role. But again, all things considered, the bullpen has done a nice job. They've done a nice job with Maton being awful, Hunter Harvey being a non-factor, and Palencia really being a non-factor as well this year. So we'll see what happens next week involving the reliever market. There's going to be a lot of relievers moved next week. A lot of relievers. So
I feel like as there always is, like the relievers, starters, that those are, I feel like the cream of the crop when it comes to deadline acquisitions. Like all the contenders obviously want to head into October with, the most amount of starting pitching depth and bullpen depth as possible. So yeah, we're going to hopefully see a ton of moves rip off in the next week.
Right. And look out, Sam. I mean, you get to September. I don't know how healthy he will be and how useful he will be, but you also may add Justin Steele to the bullpen. So I hope that that's the case. I hope he is Justin Steele of 2023 and 2022. I think he can be that guy, but that obviously remains to be seen. I don't think you can you can rely on him to be successful. It's really a plus that you can have him come out of the bullpen. So anyways, should be a exciting week coming up with the deadline. Cubs have a 4-gamer in St. Louis. Should be a muggy series. Are you going? Will you be in attendance, Sam?
I'll be there Tuesday and attempting to get tickets for Wednesday, but for sure Tuesday. So
Okay.
I will be in attendance.
You better bring a towel, bring some water, stay hydrated, bring maybe
Dude,
an extra shirt.
It is sticky here.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Played some golf today, and man, oh man, I was dripping on the tee box, dude.
It really does. It really gets hot in St. Louis. I've told you this. Every single time the Cubs are in St. Louis, there's like a stretch of 3 games where it's 100 degrees. Pitchers are going through 3 sets of jerseys. It's insane. It's insane.
Dude, the ball flies in this weather too. So it should be a pretty offense heavy series, like it always is. I feel like with the two of us, so should be fun.
I hope the Cubs can try to take three out of 4 at least against a free falling Cardinals team. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's switch over to the lakefront and talk some Bears, shall we? I can pull up the list if you want me to. Some news regarding the injury front yesterday. How do you pronounce it? The physically unable to perform list, the PUP list. 4 guys were on that list yesterday afternoon. Actually, 5 guys. Keyshawn Elliott, Noah Sewell, who was banged up all last year, as well as Shamar Turner, and then Ozzie Trapillo, who we know will be out for most of, if not all of this year. And then the biggest name was starting nickel Kyler Gordon after a offseason where it seemed like he was hurt the entire offseason. Sam, we're 7 weeks away from kickoff here. This time in 7 weeks, Bears will be 1-0 against Carolina. If this gets to the end of August, if we're sitting here in a month and Kyler Gordon is still nowhere to be found, do you think Ben Johnson considers cutting him?
I mean, that's a pretty heavy question, considering like the contract he's on. I really want to say no, but like a part of me is like, I don't know if Ben's going to stand for this much longer because, during the pressers last year, we both saw how irritated it felt Ben was with Kyler's availability. And obviously, like when he's like, it feels like we've just been talking about this dude way too much over the past couple of months. And that's not a good thing. And it's been for the wrong reasons. Like he's an incredible player on the field. I feel like he transforms our defense when he's, playing, and he makes a real impact, I feel like, on the field. But like these guys, we can't be giving 30, 40 million guaranteed to our starting nickel who's going to play 6 games out of the year. Like I just can't see Ben standing for that moving forward. So I think, yes, he's in some deep trouble if we're approaching week 1. We get to the week of Panthers week and he's still not touched the practice field. I'm going to be pretty concerned about his future.
Yeah, and the soft tissue injuries is what really irks me, and I'll tell you why. The soft tissue injuries are a work ethic I'm not going to say entirely a work ethic problem or not taking care of your body problem, but it's a big part of it. Like soft tissue injuries, hamstrings, groins, quads. Like if you're not doing the right things in the off season, those are going to linger the entire year. And it seems like Kyler Gordon has had those soft tissue injuries his entire career. I don't know what he does in the off season. I don't know if he trains 7 times a week or 5, whatever it is. But being on this list to start training camp is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And he was on this last year, wasn't he? Wasn't he on this list this time last year? And
I just don't think I don't know if he was, but he wasn't practicing. Like he was on and off the practice field, in the red non-contact jersey. Like it's just been a cycle of rinse and repeat with Kyler, on and off practice field.
and
So it's nothing new.
Ben Johnson, I think was it after the Green Bay game, the first Green Bay game, where Kyler got scratched?
It was the one at Green Bay. So
The one where
yes, the
Kyler
first
got
one.
scratched 10 minutes before the game. Remember, he hurt
Yeah.
himself in warm-ups again, and he was talking like he's got to get that taken care of. Like he was not happy with Kyler. I don't know if he was unhappy at the situation or at Kyler, but it seemed like from my point of view that he was not happy with Kyler and how he's handled it. And yeah, I think there's a realistic chance that we may see the last of Kyler, especially this may be his last year in a Bears uniform. And especially if guys have good training camps, like guys are going to get reps, guys are ready to go, and Kyler's sitting on the bench and training.
Yeah, right. And this is now we're entering year 2 of this whole coaching staff. Like I feel like his biggest, time to make an impression on this new staff was, when they first got brought in and he just wasn't able to because he couldn't get on the field. So I just don't think too that he knows this staff very well, like even Ben as his head coach, just because he hasn't been playing.
Right.
So
Right.
I feel like that's an issue too. Like Ben's not going to be afraid to pull the plug when it's time. Like I really do feel like we have a head coach that is not afraid to make moves like that. So I'm, yellow flag of concern right now for me.
Exactly.
All right, so now we're gonna kind of turn the page now and talk a little bit about our wide receiver room. This is one of my favorite rooms. I feel like we've had in the past 5 to 10 years. I feel like this is one of the deepest wide receiver rooms with talent, and they're all young too. Like obviously losing DJ, huge loss, in terms of skill, and being a veteran in that wide receiver room with Luther, Rome, Jade, all young guys. But I felt like we replaced DJ. He's not. Khalif Raymond is not, the DJ Moore replacement. I think that's more, going to be filled by Colston, by Rome, by Luther in terms of production. But I feel like adding Khalif Raymond, who is 31, 32 years old, incredible veteran presence in the locker room. He's played with Ben Johnson before in Detroit. He's an elite special teamer. He's going to block his ass off, matter of fact, in the run game. He's lethal after the catch. I feel like for being in your 30s in the NFL, like he still has some really impressive burst and speed after the catch. So I really feel like, I wrote about Khalif Raymond in the offseason. This dude is a true pro and a true football player. I think he was an excellent an excellent add for this wide receiver room. And, on the vet minimum too. So you really can't beat it. I feel like that's one of the most underrated gets, along with Jordan Vandenberg, as I talked in the last episode, of, acquisitions that are kind of going to fly under the radar for this team. I feel like he's going to make, a massive impact on and off the field for this room.
He's a great veteran presence. I really like Khalif Raymond. Excuse me for the interruption. Yeah, Khalif Raymond is a guy that I'm looking forward to watching, especially like off the field stuff. I'm super excited for him. Xavion Thomas is someone that I really am excited to see both in the backfield and playing my receiver. I think they're going to use him in the Deebo Samuel type of role. We already talked about him briefly, right? I feel like we did once the draft.
Xavion?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, after the draft, we spoke on Xavion. Really, he's a guy who most people kind of thought is just going to be another Velus Jones come in here, just be an exclusively kind of gadget speed guy. Where I see him playing that kind of gadget role, yes, in year 1, but I feel like he's going to be way more involved than Velus ever was with this offense. I feel like he's, 1, more impressive a prospect than Velus was, 2. the tape is incredible. I mean, the burst, explosiveness, the way that LSU used him too, like you said, like out of the backfield, the slot. This dude can return kicks, special teams. Like his value is going to be way more than just inserting him, every couple downs or whatnot. Like if this dude's going to be, at the very least, I think we have on our hands a very good special teamer.
I don't know if you've answered this, but out of every single receiver going into training camp, who is someone that you're kind of keeping an eye on for preseason and training camp?
Like an eye on in terms of
like, hey, like this guy is turning some heads, like this
Okay.
guy's some like who are you most excited to see in training camp and preseason?
Okay, so I kind of got two here. I mean, two obvious answers.
I have my answer.
One, I feel like, people are already writing him off, and I don't like it personally. I feel like Rome is going into this year with something to prove, and, he should be feeling that, and he should be feeling, that chip on his shoulder to go prove everyone wrong, because I feel like everyone's kind of starting to turn to Luther, which you should. I feel like he's the guy who's going to get moved around the most in this offense. He's obviously the guy that can score wherever he's on the field with the ball in his hands. I think Luther is our guy, but I feel like Rome is still our X, like wide receiver one type of role, and we're going to see that on the field. Whereas Luther's more do everything type of guy, like an Amon-Ra. He's going to run routes from the slot out wide. He's going to beat you wherever he's on the field. It doesn't matter. But I feel like in terms of opening eyes, I feel like this is a massive year for Rome. In terms of NFL future, like he's coming up on a contract year. This is it, I feel like, for Rome Odunze and his future with the Bears.
Yeah, I don't know if this would be his last year, but
well, no, he's got obviously year 3
right.
to go, year 4, and then the 5th year option.
Right. For me, this training camp, it's Jade Walker. Jade Walker is someone that I'm super excited to see in training camp, in preseason. I feel like he's going to get a lot of attention in the preseason. I feel like he's probably going to play all 3 games. And he's got a decent role this year. Like he's going to see a lot of snaps this year with DJ gone. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him. He's got a lot of speed, got great hands. I don't know how he is after the catch, but he's made some obviously pretty big catches for this team down the stretch last year. And I'm excited to see him in training camp when we go. Like that's someone that I'm excited to watch. And yeah, Jade for me is I'm really pumped.
Yeah, Jade, I mean that dude's a playmaker, man. Crispy route runner too. I feel like his route running's improved. He's also a guy I'm extremely excited to see. I feel like we can have multiple guys over like the 750 yard like marker. Like I'm gonna go on air right now saying I think Colston Loveland's gonna lead us in receiving yards and receptions. I really feel like he's kind of Caleb's safety blanket when it comes to 3rd downs, 4th downs, and we saw that develop. That relationship develop over the course of the season last year. Like when it got into big game situations, who did Caleb go to? Like 4th downs, 2-point conversions when we need to have them. It was Colston. I feel like Colston's, and he's one of those guys. Like he's too fast, athletic for linebackers to cover him, and he's too big and physical for safeties and DBs to cover him. So I really feel like he's just a matchup problem wherever you put him on the field. I mean, unless you got like Fred Warner on the other side of the ball, but that's Fred Warner. But again back on point here, I feel like Colston is going to lead our team in both receptions and receiving yards, but I can see us with multiple receivers over 1,000 yards. Who will that be? It's going to be one of Rome or Luther. I think Rome got off to a crazy hot start last season. Obviously, injuries, the foot problem derailed that. He actually this season he had to learn, how to run in a new way. because his bone formation got messed up or something with the injury. So Rome, big offseason for Rome, and I'm rooting for him. I think he's caught a lot of unnecessary slander and hate. Yeah, the drops are a problem. We got to cut out the drops. Um, but I think, the eye to watch, going back to it all, I think the eye to watch or the person to watch is Rome.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm excited for this receiving group. I'm excited to see all these young guys exceed expectations, hopefully. So, and I'm excited for training camp. Training camp, everyone's going to be there on the 28th. The first practice is on the 29th. So we're looking forward to that. And football is officially back. Thank you so much for listening to the Shy City Den. We'll be back most likely on Thursday, recapping the Cardinals series and previewing the Bears' next position group to be determined. For Joey Glickman, that is Sam Van Cleve. Thank you for listening to the Shy City Den.